One Zambia, One Nation. Good evening. Welcome to the main news on TV1. My name is Chilufya Mwelwa, and on sign language tonight is Chola Kauma. Our top stories in the news this hour. President Edgar Longo appeals to the church, to leadership in the country, not to allow politicians to divide them. Vice President Inongewina assures Zambians that President Edgar Lungu will not allow anyone to die of starvation. The Socialist Party says it will not join the opposition political alliance. And coming up in sports news, the Zambia Under-23 national football team has qualified to the final round of the joint 2020 Olympics and All-Africa Games qualifiers. Now, details in our news this hour. President Edgar Lungu has appealed to the church leadership in the country not to allow politicians to divide them. President Lungu says the church exists to unite and provide leadership to the nation and should be above politics. He was speaking at Holy Saviour Catholic Parish in Kafue this morning. Mark Ziligone now reports.
He has continued engaging the church leadership in governing the country. President Edgar Lungu joined several congregants during Mass at Holy Saviour Catholic Church in Kafue district. President Longo appealed to the church to continue praying for the country.
The church is there to build, to unite, and to maintain peace in our hearts. I'm saying this because there has been some prediction that as we go to 2021, we plunge into chaos and violence through the elections and beyond. We don't want that to happen. By coming to church today in Kafue, the first thing I asked my officers is, how peaceful is the campaign? They told me everything is fine, and I was delighted because I'm a peaceful person.
The head of state also urged the church not to be divided by politicians.
The church should not allow itself to be divided by us politicians. So I'm asking you Catholics, do not allow yourselves to be divided by us politicians. Because in the midst here, there are UPND members, there are PF members, FDD members, and all these other political parties. But why should you allow us to divide you as a church? Father, Parish Council Chairman, and all members of this church, my prayer is that remain united and focus on your mission, that of bringing people to Christ.
And parish priest Father Banda urged President Lungu to work with people who are determined to develop the country.
These days I hear people say, "Muntu osoberera kunchito si muntu wabwino." Basically, this is what Jesus is saying. If you cannot produce, then you will be cut off. Muntu osoberera ku Kristu si muntu wabwino.
Mark Ziligone, ZNBC News, Kafue.
Vice President Inongewina has assured Zambians that President Edgar Lungu will not allow anyone to die of starvation due to the poor rainfall in some parts of the country this season. Mrs. Wina says the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit, DMMU, under her office is on alert and already on the ground to distribute relief food to affected areas, including Chiawa in Kafue district, which has also been affected. The Vice President said this in Chiawa area of Kafue district at a political rally to drum up support for PF candidate Mono Simakoloi ahead of the council chairperson by-election slated for March 27th, 2019. Here's a report.
Vice President Inongewina was in Chiawa area of Kafue district to drum up support for its candidate in the council chairperson by-elections scheduled for March 27. The Vice President called on the people of Kafue as a whole to vote for their candidate, Mono Simakoloi, because he is willing to develop the area.
This man is your choice. This man was brought to the Central Committee of the PF because of his work in Kafue, where he lives, because of his integrity, the way he lives with the community. Biggest motivation is to come and help you, the people of Chiawa.
Other cabinet ministers and MPs urged the people of Kafue district to give PF a sounding victory.
Ndamuye ya Mudala Anderson Gambela Mazoga. Nyonse guno gujiawa mulimu Anderson Gambela Mazoga. Anderson Gambela Mazoga wakabamba mkamu ya UPND mu 1998. Naga ibamba mkamu ya UPND wagala abantu mbuli ba Mrs. Nonge mutu kwa wina. Wagala abantu mbuli ba Sakwi Basikota. Wagala abantu mbuli ba Patrick Chisanga. Wagala abantu mbuli ba Edgar Chagwa Lungu balera jisi ja Zambia sunu.
Earlier, the Vice President paid a courtesy call on Chief Chiawa of Kafue district. The two discussed various issues.
Western province had excess rains again. Did you? Yes, so they have lost a lot of property because of floods. Oh, and the bridges washed away. Oh, shame. So this is a national calamity. Luckily, we were blessed with the favorable rains in the northern part of the country. Yes. And I think we will have some good harvest there.
By February, everything was wilted and people have left the fields and they are outside.
Thelma Woa for Zanis in Kafue district.
And the church in Mansa has called on politicians to avoid all forms of violence in the run-up to the forthcoming Bahati parliamentary by-election. Church overseer at United Church of Zambia UCZ St. Paul's congregation, Reverend Moses Ziambo, says a repeat of pockets of violence that were recorded during the by-election in Sesheke should be avoided from taking place in Mansa. He was speaking during a church service that was attended by Mansa Central Member of Parliament, Chitalo Chilufya, and Bahati PF parliamentary candidate Charles Chalwe in Mansa this morning. And Dr. Chilufya, who is also health minister, said politicians will always be dependent on the wise counsel given by the church. Dr. Chilufya has since promised the Church of Peaceful, Chilapia and Bahati by-elections slated for April 11th, 2019.
We have a duty to ensure that at no one moment do we condone political violence. To you, members of the United Church of Zambia, please be those special advocates of peace. Go out there and preach the gospel in reality.
Kuba tulelo kokutila mutwalilo kutukosha kutufunda kuno kutila kwe bantu benu mule tungirila kwe bantu benu mule lishabashu yakwa besina tuikala mumutele iba lesto ofrat political violence mchende kumbiko no kuba kula twalika na kaifelo kokutila kose kiba violence.
And a Catholic priest has expressed concern at the tendencies emerging that threaten peace and unity of the country. Father Harrison Mulenga, who heads the School of Stigmatine House of Studies in South Africa, a school of formation for priests, has urged all leaders from all spheres to ensure Zambia continues to enjoy peace and unity. Speaking at a special farewell mass held in honor of Zambia's outgoing High Commissioner to South Africa, Emmanuel Mwamba, held at St. John's Parish in Pretoria, Father Mulenga said Zambians are known for peace and that the country has never had war or civil conflict. And Mr. Mwamba thanked President Edgar Lungu for according him an opportunity to serve as High Commissioner. Mr. Mwamba called for responsible use of social media as it is now at the center of many divisions and conflicts. This is according to a statement issued to ZNBC News by First Secretary for Press and Public Relations at the Zambian High Commission in South Africa, Naomi Nyawali. Now, President Edgar Lungu, who was in Eastern Province on a 3-day working visit, noted that the economic potential of the region needs to be exploited. He is, however, hopeful that the investment expo that the province will hold this year will help unlock the economic potential of the region. Zanis has details in this report.
President Edgar Lungu says the potential that has been lying in Eastern Province for over 50 years will be brought to light this August, when the region will showcase its prospects at the Eastern Province Investment Expo. The head of state says the region, which is known for agriculture, also has rich mineral deposits.
And I know that the sun starts from the east and it goes to end in the west. So it should, in fact, the East should have been the first to have held an expo. It's not too late. We are sure that the provincial administration has put up enough work to look forward for us to a successful expo, which will bring out the potential that lies deep in this region.
Eastern Province Minister Makebi Zulu notes that the region also holds massive potential in agriculture, tourism and forestry, which will be showcased at the exposition dubbed Solidifying Investment Portfolio of Eastern Province towards the Vision 2030.
Eastern Province is ready for investment. And in being ready for investment, we are looking to add value to our already existing products as a province. We grow quite a number of products in terms of agriculture, and we have about 2 million hectares capable of being used for farming.
And President Edgar Lungu has described his 3-day working visit to Eastern Province as a success.
It's a success in the sense that this is a fact-finding trip with the sole intention of touching base with the people and confirming that what we are getting in periodical reports in terms of development is actually factual. Not all of them are factual. Some are misleading inadvertently, others are misleading mysteriously. So you really have to know when to crack the whip. So I'm here on this trip, and I'll make a lot more of this kind of trips as we go into the future to ensure that those things we get in Lusaka are actually factual, and especially the positives are indeed positives, and we can point to them without being embarrassed when we say this has been. All these projects are not for the State House, they're not for PF, they're for the people of Zambia.
The head of state has since returned to Lusaka. Shupekile Nkunika in Chipata, Eastern Province.
Now, in other news, the Socialist Party says it will not join the opposition alliance because it is aimed at fighting President Edgar Lungu and the ruling Patriotic Front instead of offering solutions to the people's sufferings. Socialist Party General Secretary Cosmas Musumali says his party has respect for President Lungu and the PF and would not join an alliance which insults leaders. Dr. Musumali says the opposition alliance is a capitalist entity which has no solutions to unemployment and poverty. Speaking at a media briefing in Kitwe this morning, Dr. Musumali added that the Socialist Party is fighting the capitalist system and it cannot join a capitalist alliance which seeks to fight the poor and the working class. And Dr. Musumali said his party will not take part in by-elections because they are not a priority.
Alliance is against whom? If you have an alliance, it means you are bundling up, isn't it? You want to work together, but against whom? SP, the Socialist Party, is against capitalism. But our enemy, our fight, is not the PF. We are not fighting Edgar Longo. And you will never hear me, you will never hear Fred Membe insulting, abusing Edgar Longo. We don't have time for that. So if we get into an alliance against whom? Against the system. It's a fruitless task for now for the Socialist Party to participate in those by-elections. But if you talk in terms of 2021, we will field a candidate in each and every ward.
Now, the Young African Leaders Initiative, YALI, has commended government for approving and tabling before Parliament the National Dialogue Forum Bill Yali Executive Director Andrew Ntewewe says the bill is aimed at ensuring that all governance legislative reforms are backed by a legal framework. He was speaking to journalists during a press conference in Lusaka today.
And having understood where we have come from, we call on the citizens and stakeholders of this country to participate fully in this process so that at the end of the day we can have a proper constitutional reform, governance and institutional reform agenda. The other thing we want to put in place for purposes of record is that the bill is going to be very crucial because it ensures that the process is legally binding. It ensures that the process is backed by law.
The Southern African Students' Union, SASU, has urged students in the country to support the constitution-making process and various laws that government has proposed to enact. SASU Deputy Chairperson Alista Funye says he is aware of the efforts that are being made to amend the constitution and that it is important that youths participate in the process. He was speaking during a media briefing in Lusaka today. Mr. Funye also declared Zambia ready to host the 2019 Southern African Students' Summit because of its stable political environment. And Zambia National Students' Union President Meshek Kakonde said the students' body will not allow few individuals to create a perception that there will be violence in the country during the 2021 general elections.
The summit, which will be attended by more than 250 delegates from all over such countries, representing various nations, National Students' Union, SRCs, as well as representatives from our global partners such as SAI, NET, or CISA, and government representatives as well, as key opinion makers and policy experts in various fields will look into the following themes, among others. Investment in education and funding for higher education, that's number one.
I want to encourage even the business people around the nation, they should be able to take this opportunity because delegates from various nations will be coming, even the forex in terms of exchange, they'll be able to make profits during such a time. So all business people, the politicians must be able to take this opportunity to host the SASU REC meeting. And one thing I want to also put to the fore is the aspect to say, whichever committee is saying Zambia is going to have any violence during the elections and the like, we want to mention to say, as the Zambia National Students Union, we are not going to see a situation where a few individuals bring disunity within the nation.
The 2019 Southern African Students' Summit will take place from October 19th to the 24th of 2019 in Lusaka with over 250 delegates and will be held under the theme Agenda 2063, Immediate Solutions to Students' Challenges in Southern Africa. You're watching the main news on TV1. We take a break. We have more news after that. Stay with us. Welcome back. We continue with the news. Now, State House is impressed with the construction works on the 30 housing units at Levi Chito Police Camp in Luansha. Special Assistant to the President for Projects Implementation and Monitoring, Andrew Chela, says the construction of police houses meets the standards that have been set by government. Mr. Chela told ZNBC News in Luansha that the houses are complete and will be commissioned once they are connected to the power grid. And Copperbelt Commissioner of Police, Charity Katanga, said the newly constructed houses will help mitigate the housing deficit in the police service.
The works have been exceptionally done. We're very impressed with the kind of workmanship that the contractor has put in. But it just doesn't end with the contractor. I've always said that apart from the contractor being a good contractor, there's the element of the supervising authority. There are some contracts whereby the contractor is good, but because of the inadequacies of the supervisor, the end product turns out not to be what was designed. But in this case, I must commend the Zambia Police Command for the personnel that was attached to these projects in terms of supervising the contractor. The supervision was good and the product is good.
Going to ensure that these houses are kept clean. There is a maintenance plan. So those that are going to make these places look dirty, we are going to kick them out from the houses. So we just want a police officer who is going to occupy to maintain them with the cleanliness that they deserve.
Now, Southern Province Minister Edifai Hamukale says government has released 34 million kwacha for the completion of the ultra-modern market and intercity bus terminus in Livingston. Speaking after touring the two sites, Dr. Hamukale assured Livingston residents that the two facilities will be completed this year. Here's a report.
Zambia National Service officers have moved on site to complete the construction of the ultra-modern market and intercity bus terminus in Livingston. Southern Province Minister Edifai Hamukale says about 34 million kwacha has been released to complete the two structures. 15 million for the market, or 19 million kwacha is for the intercity bus station.
This massive market project demonstrates that President Longo cares for the welfare of the people of Southern Province, especially those from Livingston, because this is apparently the biggest market of this stature in this country.
The provincial minister says once complete, the ultra-modern market and the intercity bus terminus will increase business activities in the tourist capital.
This is an opportunity for the council to generate income, but at the same time, through this intercity bus stop, we will increase commercial intercourse between Southern Province of Zambia and the neighboring countries in SADC, including Botswana, Zimbabwe, Namibia, and to some extent South Africa.
Dr. Hamukale is assuring that the ultra-modern market and intercity bus terminus will be complete before the end of this year. Justin Akaklubelwa, ZNBC News, Livingston.
Northern Province Permanent Secretary Charles Sipanje has directed Road Development Agency RDA engineers to conduct a thorough assessment of bridges in the region. Zanis reports that Mr. Sipanje made the directive when he inspected ongoing works for the installation of a Bailey Bridge across Lunzua River in Mpulungu district, where a bridge and a section of the road were damaged due to flash floods last month.
A combined team of engineers from the Road Development Agency, Zambia Army and China Geo is executing works for the installation of a Bailey Bridge, which will be used as a bypass at the affected portion.
Almost done with the eastern abutment, and we've started doing the steel, the tying of the steel for the pad. I think within the next 3 weeks we'll be able to start putting up the Bailey Bridge component. I think all the components are here in sight, and we have all the cement, the steel, and the aggregates have been delivered to site. So I think works are progressing very well.
The pace at which they are moving to make sure that the Bailey Bridge is put here, this is the pace which should be continued. You know, this is the only route and where commodities pass through into Sama district.
Northern Province Permanent Secretary Charles Sipanje has inspected the works and is satisfied with the progress.
This bridge will be able to accommodate even up to about 80 tons. And also, as provincial administration for Northern Province, would like to advise road development agents through their parent ministry, the Ministry of Infrastructure, to also inspect other bridges within the province so that we don't have a situation that occurred here.
The Permanent Secretary also took time to check on the Kaija Isoko Road, which is being graded by RDA and the Zambia National Service. Nkweto Mumba in Mpulungu.
Now, items just received. President Lungu has declared that there will be no violence during and after the 2021 general elections. President Lungu says Zambia is a peaceful country and that those praying for war will not succeed. because God loves Zambia. He says that for as long as he remains president, he will not allow anyone to cause war in the country. The president said this at a rally in Kafue district where he went to drum up support for the Kafue PF Council chairperson candidate, retired Brigadier General Mono Simakoloi. The head of state said some people are praying for Zambia to go to war instead of praying for peace and unity. He said he will also intercede before God for peace and unity of the country. Meanwhile, President Lungu has asked the people of Kafue to vote for the PF candidate Mono Simakoloi in the forthcoming council chairperson by-election. The head of state said this will make it easy for government to make development to the area because the opposition have been refusing their MPs and councillors from working with the government, hence denying the people development.
Kubahati, there will be peace. Kuroni, there will be peace. Kochavuna, there will be peace. Kumitene, there will be peace. As long as I remain here, I will not allow nonsense anymore. I will not allow nonsense because of it. The people are getting hurt are our poor people. People are supposed to protect. Now I know that here in 2021, we can hold the kondo to Akana. We are going to pray, there will be peace in this country, there will be peaceful elections, and beyond 2021, the country will remain stable. That I assure you. I'm predicting that there will be violence in Zambia before, during, and after elections in 2021. Let me tell you in very clear terms that as long as I remain here, I will not allow stupidity. Will be peaceful.
And Justice Minister Given Luwinda, who is PF campaign manager in Kafue, said the opposition have shown that they are unwilling to work with the government. Meanwhile, PF Deputy Secretary General Mumbi Piri said the people of Kafue should vote for the PF because the opposition has nothing to offer. She said the PF has shown the people of Zambia that it wants to take development to all corners of the country.
Bavutike asaone chitukuko munaona ko president akamba kuti nifuna sogea Zambia koma nifuna chitukuko chisafike ni muntu huyo
kansela wakuno kaso chairman aenda bwele kuli ba president bamupisha beka sibanaonekele badaonekera kuti sibafuna kusebenza na boma ya mene idula mulira ndiye mulandu wake. Muona siku na siku makasera mukaenda kumwinirunga chachita resign.
This is the news on TV1. We take our second break. We have agriculture news up next. Stay with us. Welcome back. We continue with the news. In our agriculture news tonight, about 4,700 small-scale farmers are set to benefit from a Japanese international corporation, JICA rice dissemination project in Luapula province. Join me with the details after this short message. Now, details in our agriculture news. About 4,700 small-scale farmers are set to benefit from a Japanese international corporation agency, JICA rice dissemination project in Luapula province. Project coordinator Goichi Sasaki says the project is helping farmers learn skills on how to plant various seed varieties. Here's a report.
These are some of the rice demonstration fields by the Zambia Agriculture Research Institute, ZARI, and supported by JICA. Among the varieties being promoted is Super Rice Family and Nerika 4 for adaptation in Zambia.
Most of the farmers in this country are using what is called rain-fed. So if the rainfall delays, therefore, and come and plant this variety, it means that later on you harvest nothing.
JICA is also supporting training of officers and research activities at Mount Makulu and Luapula.
We are collecting the information or the data to provide technical information to improve the productivity of our rice in Zambia.
Given the abundant water resources in Luapula, the province has great potential for rice production.
Rice
tulesubira ukuyisombola ifi tuyimwene fwema farmers tulesubira ukuyisombola 10 to 11 April nishi yakumanya 120 days.
Government is targeting to reduce the current national rice deficit, which stands at 45,000 tons per year. Agriculture Minister Michael Katambo said this in a speech read for him by Luapula Province Deputy Permanent Secretary Lloyd Chakaba during a field day in Zambian.
Government stands ready to support initiatives aimed at promoting agricultural diversification and enhancing production and productivity.
Sub-Chief Kabongo of the Kavende people has encouraged his subjects to embrace the rice project. Patricia Banda, ZNBC News, Zambian.
And Luapula Province Minister Nixon Chilangwa says the agriculture sector in the region is destined for growth due to increased investment that has been attracted. NICE reports that Mr. Chilangwa was speaking in Zambian district during the workshop on public spending in Zambian agriculture.
Away from the floor of the House at Parliament buildings, these members of Parliament have converged in Zambian, discussing some facts about Zambian agriculture. The Indab Agricultural Policy Research Institute, IAPRI, has organized the workshop to share knowledge and information with MPs on public spending in Zambian agriculture, myths versus facts.
Some of the dialogue that we've had with them have translated into tangible and worthwhile policy positions by government on agriculture.
Why don't we have a deliberate policy to identify some very good farmers in Southern Province, in parts of Eastern Province where they are drought prone? Why not bring them in areas where there's reliable rains and produce for the country?
Luapula Province Minister Nixon Chilangwa graced the workshop, sharing some prospects of agricultural growth in the province.
Luapula should not be the same in the next 3 to 4 years. Luapula should change, and that's what IAPRI stands for. They want to improve the livelihoods of our people. They want to take people out of poverty.
Chairperson of the Parliamentary Committee on Agriculture, Max Ngonga, led the MPs.
We need to spend about 400 kwacha per person per year, but we are now at 16 kwacha. And if we do not influence that spending from Parliament, do we expect our nutrition levels to be better or higher than where they are?
Knowledge and information shared by policy researchers is certainly vital for MPs who play a key role in influencing positive agricultural policy formulation. For ZNBC News, I'm Nicholas Mwale, NICE in Zambian, Luapula Province.
Well, that's it. That's our agriculture news for tonight. Join us next week for more. We continue with the rest of the news. Central Province Minister Sidney Mushanga says government has embarked on school infrastructure development programs in its quest to render quality education accessible for all. He was speaking in a speech read for him by Central Province Deputy Permanent Secretary Patrick Mwanawasa during the handover of a 1x3 classroom block at Mpunde Secondary School in Kafue, built by the Japanese Embassy. Here's a report.
Another secondary school has received a facelift. This is Mpunde Secondary School in Kafue, which has been lacking classroom facilities for some time. However, those challenges have now been addressed as this 1x3 classroom block, built by the Chinese Embassy, has been commissioned and handed over to the school. Central Province Minister Sidney Mushanga officiated at the handover ceremony and was represented by Deputy Permanent Secretary Patrick Mwanawasa.
Upgrading of these schools is aimed at increasing secondary school completion rates, reducing early marriages, and minimizing the cost of education. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to emphasize that other stakeholders are welcome to lend government a helping hand to reduce gaps in the provision of education services because government resources are limited.
Japanese ambassador to Zambia, Hidenobu Sobashima, said the embassy will always be available to support government in developing schools and communities.
Zambia, the school is now able to accept about 150 additional pupils, including those for grade 10 to grade 12.
Representatives from the school thanked government and the embassy for the support it has received.
Building of a day school here is something which has brought happiness to the young people in Chipepo Chiefdom.
The building is a milestone to us here in Bunde because it is not easy for an upcoming primary secondary school to capture the mind of the donor.
The 1x3 classroom block was built at a cost of 655,000 kwacha. Wilson Mulinda, ZNBC News, Central Province.
Now in sports news, the Zambia Under-23 national football team has qualified to the final round of the joint 2020 Olympics and All-Africa Games qualifiers after beating Malawi by a goal to nil to win 2-0 on aggregate. This was in the second leg fixture played at the National Hero Stadium in Lusaka this afternoon. Zambia scored through Fashion Sakala in the 39th minute after good exchange of passes. Sakala was also on target for Zambia in Malawi in the first leg played on Wednesday, which ended 1-0 in favor of the Junior Chipolopolo. Zambia will face the winner between Burundi and Congo-Brazzaville in the final round of the qualifiers. That's where we end the news for tonight. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.